Hello, sweet friends. Okay, tonight we're going to do a pork chop recipe and a cheesy, like a gratin potato recipe, okay? Y'all know we love pork chops, and have you ever went outside to grill something and your gas is out? If you have a gas grill, well, that has happened to us a time or two, and it's always aggravating. Well, one night we were going to grill some pork chops. That happened. We had no gas. And so I threw together this little recipe one night to cook our pork chops, and we ended up loving it. So I'm going to show it to y'all. It's like we're going to bake our pork chops in the oven, but we're going to make a good pan sauce to go with them, okay? As y'all can see here, I don't want to pick them up yet. I have 4 pork chops that I have seasoned up. I went ahead and got that done before I got on here. Oh, I put my seasoning up. What I do with it? So I could show y'all. Alright, so I just seasoned mine up with some Creole, some of the buttery steakhouse kinders, and some black pepper. That's the 3 seasons that I use, but now you know you can use any kind of season you want, whatever is your favorite. I season them up both sides, and then I always drizzle a little bit of olive oil over them and rub that seasoning in, because I feel like it helps really keep the seasoning on, but that's optional. Alright, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and put them in our skillet and get them seared up real good, okay? It's not too hot yet, but that's okay. All right, let's see. That's a pretty big one. We're gonna just do 2 at a time and just sear those up on both sides, and then we'll do the other 2. We're gonna pop them in our casserole dish back here. I have it sprayed down, and we're gonna make our pan sauce. But I'll be back, y'all. I'm just gonna let these sear up. Okay, y'all, we're going to get the last 2 out. You see that they're just seared up really good. And y'all, this is another one of the new skillets that came with the cookware. I love it. Love it. All right, let's see. How are we going to fit this in here? Now, y'all, you can definitely do this with boneless pork chops. If you're cooking a lot, it's a little bit easier to do boneless because you have a lot more room. You know, the bone takes up a lot of space. As you can see here, I'm trying to arrange these the best I can. I can get a little bit OCD with stuff, y'all, so just overlook me for just a minute while I try to arrange these. I think that will work. Oh, and this came with my cookware too. I love it. But I love that skillet, y'all. Everything just slides around in it so good. I love it. And I would love to have these seared actually a little bit more. But I can't stand the mess. I'm ready to always get that part over with. To be somebody that loves to cook so much, I don't like the mess. Does that make sense? Alright, I have about 1.5 sticks of butter here. You can see it's kind of halfway cut. I'm going to toss that in to glaze our skillet a little bit. From all that goodness from our pork chops. Let's see. There we go. Just going to toss that around. Get all that good stuff off the bottom. Y'all, this is a really good pork chop recipe. It's easy. It's something you can throw in the oven. Then you can tend to your other stuff that you have cooking on the stove. Let me show them to y'all. You can see they're just seasoned up, seared up just a little bit. Okay, we're going to melt our butter down. If it'll melt, I'll turn that burner way down. Okay. Now let's go ahead and we're going to toss in a few onions. Now sometimes I do real onions, sometimes I just do some of the minced onion. It really doesn't matter. And I leave these kind of bigger so Braden can pick around them. You know, he don't really like, he won't tell you he likes onion flavor, but he does because he likes so much stuff that I make. But he certainly don't want to bite into one, okay? Let me move y'all on up here a little bit so you can see. Y'all know my counter space is slim. Alright, so we're going to put some of these in here. But like I said, you can do these or the minced onion, or you can even do some onion powder if you want to. Like I said, this was something I come up with one night, just using things that I already had here. And so, there's no right or wrong way. And I'm saving out some of those onions because we're going to use some in our potatoes too. These 2 ingredients actually, or these 2 recipes, use a lot of the same ingredients, so that works out really well. Okay, all right, y'all, I'm just going to let these onions cook down for just a second, and then we're going to add our other stuff, make our pan sauce, pour it over these, and pop them in the oven. I'll be right back. Okay, y'all, I let our onions cook for about 5 minutes. Now we're going to put in about a teaspoon of our minced garlic. Okay. Mix that around. And you just want to mix this around and let this cook for about a minute. And then you want to go ahead and put in your other stuff because you don't want your garlic to burn. I know I've told y'all that, but just let it cook for just a second. I mean, 30 seconds to a minute is about all it needs. Okay. Now, let's see. Let's go ahead and get some of our other stuff in there. We have some broth here. What else do we have? Oh, yeah. Let's go ahead and put in our W sauce. Okay. So put you in some of that. There's a little bit left in here. I don't know how much we're going to do. Let's see. That's about a tablespoon. Let's go ahead and do about 2 tablespoons, y'all. There we go. That's about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons. Whoop. Okay, toss that around. Okay. Now I have here a little bit of chicken broth that I made up, and we're going to use some of this for our potatoes too. So whatever we don't use in here, we will use for our potatoes. So let's see. Let's pour some in. I have 1 cup. Let's see. I may need to go ahead and use this whole cup. So 1 cup of chicken broth because we want these pork chops completely covered. Okay? That way they can cook in the oven and get nice and tender. Alright, let's add a few spices in. We're not going to add much because our pork chops are already so well seasoned. So we're not going to do any salt. We're just going to do a little bit of pepper. Sprinkle some around. And then, I know it sounds crazy, but one thing I like to add to this pan sauce is some ground thyme. Now, you don't have to add much. I'm thinking I just add in, I mean, this stuff's really strong. So I'm showing you here just some that I have put in my hand. I'm thinking that's not even probably 1/8 of a teaspoon. But a little bit goes a long way. And I like the flavor of it. So we're going to do just a smidge of that. Really, you could just sprinkle it in. I put it in my hand so I could kind of show y'all a little bit better. Okay? And then our last thing we're going to put in here is going to be some heavy cream. Okay? So let's see. Let me get I got out my measuring cup so I could show y'all. Let's see. This measuring cup is 1 cup. That's all of that one. That's about 1/2 cup in there, y'all. So let's put that in. Ooh. I think that will be all that we will need. Yep, I believe that's going to be it. I think that will be plenty. These will cook really good. We have that mixed up. I'm just going to go ahead and get this going so we can get our potatoes going. So we're just going to pour that over our pork chops. Just like that. Okay? Set this over here. Kind of push these around. And that's it for the pork chops, y'all. Only thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cover this with some foil. As you can see these here, and y'all, these will melt in your mouth. I promise you. I'm going to cover this with some foil. I have my oven on 350, and I typically bake these for about 1 hour. At the end, I like to take the foil off, but I'll tell y'all that a little bit more along the way and kind of how long I've cooked them. I'm going to get these covered, get these in the oven, kind of get everything cleaned up here and regroup, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you the cheesy potatoes we're going to make. Okay, y'all, let's get these potatoes going. So we are going to start by melting 2 tablespoons of butter. I've got my other skillet out here now. This is the deep one because we're going to cook these potatoes down on the stovetop, and then we're going to pop them in the oven. I'll be honest with y'all, I have never made this exact potato recipe. I had 2 of the big baking potatoes left that I needed to use, and I thought, what do I want to do with these? I thought I want to do something different, so I kind of went looking, and I found this recipe. It is called it's like a restaurant. It's supposed to be a copycat restaurant, a gratin potato recipe. So we will see. I don't normally do if I do cook potatoes in the oven, I don't typically go ahead and pre-cook them on the stovetop like some of the recipes call for, but I'm going to with this one. That because we already have our pork chops in the oven anyway, so I feel like it's going to kind of work out, and that's what we'll do. Hang on a second, let me rinse my spoon out that I just used. Hang on. Okay, and what I liked about this recipe, y'all, is like I said, it calls for a lot of the same ingredients that we already had to use for our pork chops, so it just kind of worked out well. So our 2 tablespoons of butter here is melting down. Now I'm going to put in the rest of those onions that I had here. Really, again, you can do however many or little you want, or you could probably leave the onions out if you wanted to. Okay, we're going to toss those around. I'm going to let these cook down for just a second. I tell you, I don't even think I'm going to let those cook for a while. I'm going to go ahead and put my garlic in. We're going to do about a teaspoon of our garlic. Toss that in. Let that cook. Y'all, there's nothing that smells better than onions and garlic cooking. Do y'all agree? I'm going to cut this down just a little bit. Let that cook for just a second. And let's see, I can get this out of the way. Alright, I have our potatoes here. And y'all, like I said, I just had 2 big baking potatoes, and I just sliced them up really thin like this. I just used a sharp knife, and it takes a while, but you know, you just have to be patient with it. And I just sliced them all up, and then I soaked them in some water for a little bit because I like to get that starch off, but you know, that's optional. So anyway, that's what we have here. Here's our potatoes. Okay, let's see. Alright, let's go ahead. Let me move these back out of the way. Okay, now we're going to add in our chicken broth. So I made another cupful up here. Let's see, I don't know how much we're going to use because like I said, this is a new recipe for me. So that is quite a bit of potatoes. I tell you what, let's go ahead. That's 3/4 of the cup, and we may add the rest, okay? So that's 3/4 cup of chicken broth, and now I have 1 cup of our heavy cream. We're going to pour that in. Okay, mix that around. Alright, and now I'm going to add in some salt, some pepper, okay, and some parsley, of course. Let's see, am I forgetting anything? I don't think I am. That's probably a good heaping teaspoon of parsley. Oh, I forgot. I better put that on there. I'll end up dumping this out. Alright, so let's mix this around and see where we're at. Okay, I'm going to let this come up to just not really a boil, but kind of start simmering. Then we're going to toss our potatoes in this. I'm going to put this lid on here. This is the same lid I used earlier. I didn't wash it. It'll be fine. I'm popping that on there and I'll be back, y'all. Okay, y'all, our little mixture here is simmering, so now what we're going to do is put our potatoes in. Yeah, I think we're going to need that other broth because there's and I actually didn't use the amount of potatoes that it called for. So let's go ahead. We're definitely going to need some more liquid. So let's put in the rest of this broth. So that's 1 cup of broth, and I think if we do about another 1/2 cup of heavy cream, we'll be good to go. So that will be 1.5 cups of heavy cream and 1 cup of broth. Yeah, I think that will do it, y'all. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put the lid on these and just let these slow simmer. We're not in no hurry because we still have those pork chops in the oven. So I'm just going to let these slow cook until they start to get tender. And then we're going to put them in our casserole dish with some cheese and pop them in the oven. Alright, I'll be back, y'all. Hey, y'all. Okay, I have had our potatoes here just cooking up for about 20 minutes. And I want y'all to look at these. These smell amazing. I think this is going to be a winter recipe. I want to be easy because you don't want to tear your potatoes all to pieces. So basically what you want to do is just cook them until they get good and tender. Like I said, mine was like 15-20 minutes. It's all going to depend on how thick or thin your potatoes are. So just keep a check on them and cook them until they're good and tender. Not all the way soft, but tender. Y'all know what I mean. All right, now we're going to put some cheese in. I got my cup out here so I can measure for y'all. We're going to start there. Went Bella, that little stinker. She come in here. She was just loving all over me. I put her in the chair, and now she's jumped down and run off. And she loves cheese. I should have told her I had this cheese out. Belle, you want a bite of cheese? Y'all, cheese is her favorite human food. Do your dogs like cheese? Because she loves it. All right, we're going to start with 1 cup, y'all. Belle, you want a bite of cheese? Let's see if she'll come in here. Mama's got cheese out. And we're just going to gently toss that cheese around in there. These are still really hot. I just now turned it off. So we don't want to get too carried away. I should have turned them off a few minutes sooner, but that'll be okay. All right, I want to do a little bit more because I like cheesy. So let's go ahead and do about 1.5 cups, y'all. So we're going to go with that. 1.5. Okay. And that may be a generous 1.5. Y'all know how I am with cheese. Ooh. Y'all, I think these are going to be a winner. I can tell by the smell of them, the look of them. We're all going to love these. Okay. Now what we've got to do, let me get this out of the way. Bella didn't come in here and get no cheese. Belle, you want a bite? Mama's got cheese. If she heard me get that cheese grater out, she would be in here. And y'all, it's just a little metal handheld one, but she knows the sound of it when I sit it down, and she knows the sound whenever I'm cutting open the blocks of cheese to shred it. She will come in here every single time, I'm telling you. Smart little thing. All right, so now I sprayed my little dish here, and now we are going to put it down in here. Ooh, man. Tell you what, this is some goodness right here. Oh, and I love this pot. Have I told y'all I love my new cookware? I do. Look how good that just came out of there. I love it. I should have bought me some new a long time ago. I have just been putting it off for whatever reason because I'm stingy. Okay. Now we've got that in there. I'm not going to put any cheese on top, I don't think. I think it's going to be good just like that. The only thing I'm going to put on top is a little bit of parsley. Now let me tell y'all real quick. What the recipe said was, you know, cook it on the stove, just like I told y'all, 15-20 minutes until the potatoes are good and tender. And then, you know, it said then to put it in the oven for about 15-20 minutes on 425. Okay, I have our pork chops in the oven on 350. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in there, and our pork chops like about 20 minutes. So I'm just going to put it in there, and then if I need to turn it on broil to kind of get the top a little bit brown, I will. But just know, if you make these, put them in the oven on 425 for 15-20 minutes uncovered. That's what the recipe calls for. So far the recipe has been on point, so I want to make sure and tell y'all the right way. But I'm going to kind of tweak it and change it up a little bit since I have the pork chops in there. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to put these in there and I'm going to come back and all this is going to be done. Okay, y'all, our potatoes and pork chops are done. Let me show y'all these. Man, do these look good and they smell good. Look at these. So what I did, y'all, you remember I was changing it up by my cooking time and temperature because I put them in the oven with my pork chops. So first, let me go over the pork chops. So I cooked the pork chops for 1 hour. I did 350 for about 50 minutes. And the last 10 minutes, I took the full off, put the oven on broil, just because I like for the top to get good and golden looking. You'll see what I'm talking about. And I already had the potatoes in the oven cooking. They had been in there for about 10-15 minutes. And so I let the top of them get good and cooked. Also, I took the pork chops out, but then I left the potatoes in there for about another 5 minutes. But remember, you may not be cooking both of these together. So remember, the recipe for the potatoes was 425 for 15-20 minutes after you do the stovetop method, okay? And your pork chops, 350, 50 minutes with full on, then take the full off, and then cook them on broil for a few minutes, okay? If you want to. Now, they're already done cooking on 350, but I just like to do that because I like for them to get this pretty color on there. And then whenever I get them out, I just cover them back up and let them sit here and hang out. And I take a spoon and spoon that sauce over the top of them. But look at them, y'all. I tell you what, these pork chops will melt in your mouth. I know that for sure. I don't know about the potatoes yet, but I have a good feeling about those already. And I haven't even tasted them yet. All right, let's get us one of these pork chops. My oven? Yeah. Heard something popping back there. Alright, I'm going to get a spoon and just spoon some of this. Now, y'all, you can definitely take this liquid out of your pan here and turn it into a thicker gravy if you want to. But, why is it doing that? Even being thin like this, it's still really good to drizzle over your mashed potatoes, okay? Look at that, y'all. It's got that liquid on there. I'll tell you what. All right, let's try these. Let's get these potatoes out. I know that they're crazy hot. Ooh-wee. Oh. So, you know, I told y'all that the potato recipe was, it said that it was a restaurant style or copycat of Gratin potatoes. And the restaurant that it said, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of it. I don't know how many of the different locations that they have it. But if you've ever heard of the restaurant Ruth Chris, it's like a steakhouse. That's what it said on the recipe, was these were a copycat for Ruth Chris Steakhouse of Gratin potatoes. That is where Jay and me went on our very first date. And I've had their gratin potatoes there, and they're delicious. So it caught my eye for sure. All right, let's see here. Let's see if we can get us a piece of this pork chop without a knife. It should be. Oh, yeah. Fork tender. Look at it. I just pulled that off with my fork, y'all. Let's try it. Good as always, y'all. You will love these pork chops. They literally melt in your mouth. They are so good. The flavor is so good. They're easy. I want y'all to make these pork chops. Y'all will come back later and say, I love those pork chops, because I know you will. All right. Let's try these potatoes. Woo! They're still hot. Which I just got them out of the oven a couple minutes ago, and they were on broil, so. I don't want to burn my mouth, because then it's going to ruin the rest of my good meal here. Those are delicious. Y'all will love these too. I wish I could take credit for this recipe, but I cannot. But I do know that I have a new potato recipe. Y'all know there's 1,000 different potato recipes, and I've just added another one to my collection because I love these. Y'all will want to make these, I promise. I wouldn't steer you wrong. It's amazing how good the flavor is in those, because remember, we didn't even do many spices or anything in those. The garlic, the onion, you can really taste. The chicken broth with the heavy cream, salt, and pepper. The cheese, I'm telling you what, those are so good. And of course, I do love the pork chops. This is amazing, y'all. And you don't have to make it together. If it's a little complicated with the oven issue, because these pork chops will be really good with mashed potatoes, and drizzle a little bit of that sauce over your potatoes, delicious. And then these potatoes will be good with anything. I like doing an oven potato whenever I'm grilling, because that way I'm not cooking something on the stovetop that I have to stand over, and I can be in and out grilling while my potato or whatever is cooking in the oven. So that's a good combo that works out great. Next time you grill out, make these potatoes. You'll love them. All right, y'all. I will see y'all later. Bye-bye.